All right. Welcome to Black Lions Airspace. I'm your host, Zachary Shallow. And I actually have a wonderful, wonderful guest on with me. So, with that said, welcome to Black Lions Airspace, what we call here roaming around Black Lions domain with, well, my guest. I cannot say too much about her except for she's been one of my best friends on the planet. And as you'll find out, we know each other very, very well. Well, with that said, welcome to roaming around Black Lion's domain, Melody Bowne, or Mel
Hi.
Mel, or Mel Mel for short. Okay, we've known each other now, I gotta believe, hmm, 14 years?
Something
14
like
years?
that, yeah.
Oh, God. All right, so we met each other roughly in September, if my memory serves me right.
Yes.
You and I, we were hanging out with just random friends, and then I believe we went off somewhere by ourselves.
I
You and
ended up, yeah, I ended up running into you because Julio knew our friend Aaron.
oh yes,
And
those.
it was in 2006.
Yep, yep. And from there, we actually got to know each other. I think you more so actually contacted me, and then I actually contacted you. But there was something there, definitely.
Yeah.
And I believe you at that point in time were also with your now dear husband Edward, or Eddie for
Yep.
short.
Yep.
And then you and I, we really started to hit it off a little bit more. And roughly around December of 2006, we actually became a couple after you broke up with him for a brief
Yep.
bit.
Yeah.
I remember you taking me aside, I think, and this is after we started hanging out with our friends. I believe this was roughly November, and you took me to McDonald's,
Yeah.
and we actually had a little dinner together, and we kind of flirted a little bit, I gotta believe, where I actually did a certain pose that kind of drove you crazy. If you told me this correctly, uh, where and if anybody's watching this, I believe I did this in front of her, and she actually liked it, and we started talking a little bit more, and I swore she would have almost kissed me right there and then, but actually we just talked about it off cam without other
Yeah.
people around. So once we really did talk about it, I felt, yeah, this some this is something we could go from there. And funny, we were both still kind of teenagers at that point in time,
Yep.
especially you.
Yeah. I was the younger one.
Yeah, and let's just say certain people kind of were like about
Yeah.
our relationship. But we shall get into that a little bit more shortly. Shortly.
Yeah.
Well, our relationship, it actually wasn't just a platonic. We actually got to know each other by way of a common love for a certain, how can I actually put this? A certain sport, but also dramatized show.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if my memory serves me right, you at that point in time, you didn't even know about life of pro wrestling outside of WWE at that point in time.
No, but I had heard about stuff. There was a lot I had heard about, but most of it was basically WWE, WCW, and ECW related.
Right. And then once we started dating for our, well, what was it, almost 2 years and brief engagement, I believe I turned you on to certain promotions such as Ring of Honor and Combat Zone Wrestling, if I understand. Also,
Yes.
also Jersey All Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
Oh man. And I remember showing you this stuff, and you were just like jazzing out more than anything else. Especially when it came to the combat zone stuff. You were like, oh my god, this is so awesome. We
Yeah,
gotta
because
talk.
anything that kind of related to ECW in a sense, I've always loved hardcore wrestling. Like just watching somebody put their literal body on the line to just give everything for the fans. I'm right there for it.
Mm-hmm. And sad to say, we could not go to any shows at that point in time because of lack of money. And we didn't
Yeah.
know anybody. But looking back, if I actually had that, oh, you bet your ass we would have gone.
Oh yeah,
That's,
definitely. I know we would have gotten to see Blackout in their prime years.
oh my God. Now I'm taking off my glasses. If anybody's watching this, now I'm taking off my glasses and rubbing my face right now. Because that's where I wanted to be. That's where I wanted to be, damn it. Where the blackout was running full effect. Somehow, some way, get you on board with Ring of Honor. So I think we were, let's see, how many months? I believe you and I, we were actually about almost 2 months in to our relationship on a
Yeah.
romantic level. And somehow, some way, you convinced me to stay at your parents' house. And they were cool with it. God, God. Because my parents, they would have not been all for that shit at all.
Oh.
Especially my mother. She would have been like, no, sad to say, she got to go home. And I was like, come on, mom, no, 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 no. Be nice, be nice. If I actually had my way, I would have said, no, 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 mom. Let her stay. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a brief special guest. That's her dear husband in the background.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
All right,
I
back.
I think when it came to Ring of Honor, I think back then a lot of the wrestlers were like fantastic. We had a lot of really good shows and a lot of really good times going to Ring of Honor. And in a sense, I miss that old Ring of Honor because nowadays I feel like Ring of Honor has kind of gone down the crapper a little bit.
I agree. I agree. And
So
this is somebody that's watched it for practically its infancy all the way through now, almost.
this is somebody who's actually seen um well, he's now known as Daniel Bryan. I know him as Brian Daniel. I've
we
watched him come up through the ranks. I've watched Seth Seth Rollins, who was Tyler Black, come up
God
in
bless.
the rank.
God bless.
Generica. I watched Kevin Steen. I've watched all of these people up and coming into the WWE, like Shinsuke Nakamura. I
Oh,
watched all of this go down.
oh, The people that you just named, that's just making my soul cry right now because I know how much the evil empire has ruined
Claudio,
the good life.
Claudio, Claudio Castagnoli, who is now Cesaro.
God.
Sarah Del Rey, who is the women's I
Trainer
think
down
she's the
in NXT.
trainer. Well, she's the trainer for the women.
Uh,
So
and
I've
the
watched all of this. I've watched everything just go down and just I loved every minute of it, and I'm very sad that they don't have talent like that anymore. And I'm sad with how the E is using their talent as well.
not Jesus Christ. If anybody who has listened to this show for the past near year, they know my disdain for WWE is high, high like a kite, because I've actually said it time and again that WWE can be racist, they can be sexist, they can be very favoritist, and that does not fly on this multidimensional realm. No, 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 no,
No,
no, no.
don't mind me. I'm just eating a frosty.
Well, that's kind of life, ladies and gentlemen. We've actually been through this before. and
What?
there's
I
no
love
and there's no
frosties. They're delicious.
there's no hate. Okay, Mel Mel, as far as our live adventures were concerned, excuse me, anybody that's been on the yep. Yeah, but I need somebody like you that'll laugh at me when I actually burp on air. But anyway, back to the live action saga. All right. Our live action saga with Ring of Honor or General Pro Wrestling began, I believe, in February, as I touched on. Going into that show, I already celebrated my then 20th birthday. You were already 17.
Yes.
And we just decided, or was it more so me? I think
I
we both came to,
so you decided, and you were
yeah,
just like, I'm along with me for this ride.
yeah. It was more so me. I will take the blame. All right. So it was my decision. My decision. I just grabbed her along. I said, we are going to Hammerstein Ballroom. No matter what the cost, we're going. We're going. We're going. Because it's absolutely fun.
Yep.
Been 15 years. Jesus Christ. Oh, man. That was the last time that Samoa Joe would be a part of Ring of Honor in its prime.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to be there, especially knowing that now Samoa Joe was leaving for TNA full time, or what we call Impact Wrestling to this day.
Yeah.
Also, the world's champion at the time, he was actually almost getting ready to wrap up too. So I
Yeah.
knew we had to be there. And I do not regret every single time that I paid. None.
It was
None.
expensive, but it was worth it.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And we almost sat ringside. If I had it my way, we would have sat ringside. But sad to say, you gotta stretch within your means.
I
So,
think we I think we sat like second or third row though, so we were pretty close to ringside.
oh yes, we were. Yes, we were. We were like definitely second or third row. I gotta believe now that my nose is going up. Hmm. Let's see. Memory serves me right. I think we were more so third row. Yeah, we were more so third row.
So,
Okay. The show was called, I gotta believe, Ring of Honor's fifth anniversary, New York City. Ah, man. And if my memory serves me right, that day, I left class early. I left class early because I wasn't feeling it. Plus, I was so excited to actually have gone to Ring of Honor for the first time ever.
Yeah.
So I knew I had to come home to my sweetheart at that point in time so we could get ready to go. And with her parents' blessing, well, we went to the races. And I gotta believe that we didn't take too long to wait. I think we actually had roughly an hour, maybe an hour plus.
I think we
And
waited outside about an hour, hour and a half,
yeah,
I would say. And it was freaking cold, might I add.
yes, dear. Yes,
It
dear.
was a freezing cold day, and my feet were frozen. I remember that like the back of my damn hand.
Yes, it was. And I actually had to hold her to calm her down. I remember it too well. I said, no, no, you can trooper through this. We are almost in there. Please hold on with me. It's okay. We are almost in there. We are almost in there. Hold on. Hold on. And she troopered through it. And I actually, did I actually buy you a shirt that day?
Yes, yes, you did.
Okay.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was either my Fallen Angel shirt or you got me my Necro Butcher shirt. I don't remember which one.
Well, either which way, you troopered right through, and I thought, okay, she's here supporting this with me. Why not get her something? And
Yeah.
I think I got myself, let me see, a few DVDs and also the Ring of Homicide shirt. Oh my God, that thing is still in my closet. That is still in my closet right now. Matter of
I
fact,
still have my Fallen Angel shirt. It's and my Necro Butcher shirt. They're both in my storage locker.
oh my God. I'm still I'm still in shock that this thing in my closet is actually almost the same way that it was when we got it. Almost. And I still wear it on and off. I don't know what it is, but somehow, some way, it just stays together. It does not rip. It does not have holes. It just stays together. I don't know why.
Because Homicide made sure that shit was 187.
Yeah! Yeah! Yes. And I had to support the world's champion at the time. And plus, he's from New York, then. And then we love our own. And like Ice Cube said in Triple X State of the Union, also, ladies and gentlemen, that's a good film. You should go watch that shit. X takes care of their own. X takes care of their own. So, moving on. Okay, that actual show, I gotta believe that was hands down one of my favorite shows of 2007 overall. May I had been there live, or may I had bought the DVD, whatever the case was. I loved almost every single minute of it. Oh man, if my memory serves me right, we actually had a tables match. That's the one that you lost your shit on the most. You lost
Oh
your.
my god. I remember he flew off the ring into the table.
Yeah, that's the part that drove you crazy the most. It was BJ versus Brent Albright, or
Yeah.
some crazy name that he had down in the evil slave territory. I don't use slave names quite so much. But anyways, yeah, that was one of your highlights. I remember you were just cheesing out. You were like, "Oh my god, this is so great!" And I'm saying, "No, no, calm down a little bit. Calm
I
down
would
a
have
little
jumped
bit."
over the guardrail and helped him.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I remember you were about to jump over that damn railing. I said, "Oh no, oh no!" I gotta get her under control real fast, real fast. I gotta get her under control because if she jumps over that guardrail, it's gonna be the end of the show. Because you were telling me in private or in my ear, you were like, these motherfuckers don't know anything. I'm going to show them what hardcore is all about. I said, oh, shit. I said, oh, no. No, no, no. I love you, Mel, but the answer is still no. Yes, still no. Okay, and another highlight of that show, I gotta believe, was Austin Aries and Roderick Strong failing to regain the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships from the team that you were rooting for the most on that whole
Yep.
entire show, Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal.
Yep.
And I was rooting for the challengers because, as much as I love the champions, sad to say, one half of those champions was possibly going to go back to TNA.
Exactly.
So
And
that's
he
why.
did?
And he did. And we're going to shit on that company in a few minutes, especially me. Oh my God. All right. Let's see. If my memory serves me right, I believe Davey Richards was supposed to be on that show, wrestling, but for storyline purposes, they were saying he was not there. But he turned out to be there, and
Yeah.
exact that moment after the match was over, he showed up and say goodbye to the men that made the tag team championships into world titles because Davey Richards aligned himself with Roddy Strong. And I
Yeah.
remember my own reaction. I was losing my jump. I said, whoa,
I
this is
think I had
going on
to
right
take
now.
your mouth off the floor.
Yeah, I was like, what what is this going on here? And then all of a sudden they're grabbing the microphone, they're dissing the crowd, and then the words that came out of the mouth for the name. She can actually testify this. My mouth was on the floor even more. The no remorse corpse. I said, okay, okay, I'm all for this.
That's it. It's on.
I'm all for this. Okay. Roddy is looking to not be in Austin's shadow no more. We got an up and coming JV, and off to the races we went. Oh, but to kick off this show, my memory serves me right, and Mel Mel, you can chime in with this. I believe that the show kicked off with what was supposed to be Samoa Joe, but no, it was not Samoa Joe. We had one Takeshi Morishima show up with Samoa Joe's music and beat the hell out of somebody that was like considered developmental talent, I gotta believe.
Yeah.
And then we did not get Samoa Joe until like maybe halfway through the show.
Yeah.
And when he came out, oh my God, the place lost its mind for real.
Everybody was like slamming onto the guardrails. Like they were like picking him up and slamming him on the floor. They were like, banging on chair. Everybody was going nuts. I remember that distinctly.
Yes, Samoa Joe was the man of the net piece. Oh my God. When he came out for his, quote unquote interview, oh man, I was kind of dying laughing. And I think you actually had to say, hun, stop, stop. I said, no, Mel, I'm just laughing. There's nothing wrong here. There's nothing wrong here. What I'm alluding to, ladies and gentlemen, Samoa Joe complained that earlier in the day, he and Homicide went to a strip club, and my dear spouse at the time was kind of looking at me like, and she's looking at me like that right now. And I'm saying, no, man, I'm sorry. Please, forgive me. me on my cheek anyway and forgave me and patted me on the head and said, "Okay, let's move on." All right, so the actual match between Samoa Joe and Morishima, if my memory serves me right, and I don't think you know this, I believe it came about because not only was Samoa Joe leaving, but this is a little bit before we started dating. Supposedly, Pro Wrestling Noah showed up for Ring of Honor's Glory by Honor, which was in September.
Yeah.
And Bruno San Martino, one of the longest WW Triple F champions, or ladies and gentlemen, if anybody's under a rock, it is translated now as what we're referring to as the Evil Empire, WWE for short. Oh boy. And he just wanted to uh, show love for Daniel Bryan, or excuse me, slave names are not allowed here. Slave names are not allowed. Okay. Brian Danielson. Brian
Danielson.
Danielson. Excuse me. Excuse me. Brian Danielson, and I gotta believe Marufuji, Nayamichi Marufuji, who was the GHC heavyweight champion at that point. So Bruno's doing this whole entire thing. People are going nuts. And then after he was done, uh, the wrestlers were leaving. And then we had an altercation. We had Samoa Joe getting into it with Morishima. And then the rest was history. Well, at the show that we went to, Samoa Joe called out Morishima for what he did earlier in the show. And let's just say another person came out by the name of Nigel McGuinness. And
Yes.
I remember what happened. Oh man. So basically, Samoa Joe is questioning Nigel's loyalty to the company. And Nigel is basically saying, I'm Ring of Honor and Noah. Either you respect it or you don't. I was dying laughing. Mighty One over here actually had to calm me down a little bit because I heard maybe the funniest thing on that whole entire show. Samoa Joe called Morishima Morishima Nigel's sugar daddy. I was saying, oh my god. Or something.
I remember
Oh, if you got a problem, you could always go get your sugar daddy. I said, oh my god, this is too good. Samoa Joe.
was it that show where they were calling Morishima Baby Huey?
Oh yes, yes, yes. During the match, Okay, let's get to the match. The actual match came after, I believe, Nigel and Colt Cabana. Nigel and Colt Cabana actually won against the
Yes.
Briscoes, who were basically my favorite tag team. That's not Austin Aries or Roddy Strong. Oh
Yeah.
man, it's so long. My brain is farting. But anyways, yeah, Morishima showed up. He actually wanted Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe came out, and it was on like Donkey Kong for the whole entire latter half of the show. And
Yeah.
Samoa Joe was leg kicking him. Somebody that I loved right next to me, and it felt right. Well, Samoa Joe actually did win the match. That made me very happy. and that made her happy too. Well, the main event, I kind of was shocked by. We had Homicide defending the World's Championship against Jimmy Rave, who was no longer a part of the embassy because Prince Nana left Ring of Honor. I gotta believe at that point. Yep. And I remember that I was thinking, oh man, maybe Homicide's gonna lose the championship to Jimmy Rave. I hope not. I hope not. And that's our consensus. We were hoping that he wasn't gonna lose, and lo and behold, he did not lose. Thank God. Thank God.
Everybody was throwing toilet paper at him.
Why were they doing TP? Oh, that's what we're asking? Okay.
No, because remember, they were throwing TP at Jimmy Rave.
Yeah.
It was just because when he was leaving, it was so funny because when he was leaving after the match, he had toilet paper stuck to the bottom of his shoe.
And I think they were saying, please do not throw TP at the wrestlers. Please do not throw or trash in the ring. But people, this is New York City. This is New York City. We don't listen to the rules out here, especially in this current climate that we're living in, which we shall touch upon later.
Yeah, no. We don't care. We will throw toilet paper. We will throw streamers. We will throw anything at you.
Yep. And I was thinking that the outro for Homicide when he was the champion was going to be his intro. But lo and behold, his intro was always the same. But then his actual win would become We Fly High by Jim Jones. Whereas his intro is still The Truth by Beanie Siegel. And yes, folks, we are actually educating you in your rap right now. Nah, Jesus Christ. Being interrupted by the state of New York to let us know that we are actually under curfew right now.
That makes no sense. I thought curfew started at 8.
Curfew starts at 8. Yeah, it starts at 8. Excuse me. But either which way. Sorry, Mayor Cuomo, we do not want to be reminded of this nasty curfew right now. We are having too much fun. Anyways, moving right along. Yeah, I'm still in awe of that right now. If I actually could get Homicide on the podcast one day, I would love to ask him about that. Because, wait a minute. I think I know why. Maybe he couldn't get it under actual intro because a certain other group was using that same insurance music or intro music, and we will touch upon them when we actually get to that point. All right, so we actually wouldn't go to any more shows for the rest of 2007 until...
I thought, no.
No. I'm getting to it. Trust me. Please keep your hand in mine. Anyways, we would not actually go to any more wrestling shows in 2007 until December. Because at that point in time, for the rest of 2007 before, we had a brief breakup. And then when New York was in Ring of Honor's radar again, sad to say we were just getting back together. So we couldn't actually get out there. So if my memory serves me right, we somehow, some way saved up, or I saved up, to get us out there in December. I wanted to go to, oh man, I'm about to go on a brief rant right now. I wanted to go to this weekend show in November of that year. And I think she knows this. I put in time to actually go to see, rest in peace, Mizuhara Masawa.
Yeah.
I was geeking out. I wanted to see him versus Kenta more than any other match on that show.
My
That
God, that. Yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to see that thing live. But sad to say, if anybody actually has heard this story, thank you very much. If you have not, you better buckle up. All right. I wanted to go, but I got declined. So when I got declined, there was no go, and I missed the GHC Heavyweight Championship from Pro Wrestling Nowhere being defended on American soil.
Yep.
And sadly, 2 years later, one Mitsuharu Masawa passed away. And
Yes.
it eats at me sometimes that I could not see him live because he was one of my favorite Japanese wrestlers of all time. And when he finally did pass, we were not together anymore, me and Mel. And I knew she was at Masawa's tribute show from Ring of Honor, which also happened to be the last appearance of Bryan Danielson, if my memory serves me.
Yes. I was at that show. Yes.
And I made it in my mind when I heard Mitsuharu was dead that if I ever got the chance to see Japanese wrestlers live again, that I would not hesitate. So I made it a big deal,
I
even to
believe, I believe if I'm not mistaken, that Ring of Honor show, they announced it during the show that he had passed away.
well, either which way.
And
When I heard,
they did like a 10 bell salute for him, and it was very sad.
yeah, and that broke my heart that day. I remember too well, and I wasn't there. I was not there because I did not have the financial means of going
Yeah.
at that point. And plus, you're a little munchkin of a boyfriend at the time. I didn't want to see his sorry little ass, if anything. But moving back to our wrestling history, we did make it for one of Ring of Honor's pay per views. Legit pay per views, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And it was called Rising Above. I love that show so much because several months later, I think we bought it and we watched it, and we could see ourselves at some points during it. I said,
Yes.
okay, okay, we made it to TV. We made it to TV. This shit's awesome. So I believe that night, okay, this is kind of leaning into something else, but we can go from it. I believe Rest in Peace was a part of that day because before we got there, Mel Mel and I, being people of family, we had to say goodbye to a dear piece of Mel Mel's family in her uncle's spot.
Yeah.
And it was important that I was there for her. And thank God I was. But I
Yeah.
wasn't but I wouldn't be there for another person when their time. Speaking of which, Mel Mel, this is the first surprise that I was gonna introduce you to.
Okay.
This show is dedicated to the memory of what would have been my father if we stayed together. The father-in-law to Eddie who's in the background.
Yeah.
William Bowne Sr.
Thank
So,
you.
and Mel Mel, I think this may make you smile even more. I was at work today and I was thinking about it, and I felt a presence say, "It's okay." I gotta believe that your father gave me his blessing to have you on, and not only have you on, but do this in his honor.
Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
yeah, it does. It does mean a lot to me. He was like the biggest part of my life. Um, he always encouraged me to do whatever I wanted to do, and he's one of the few people that got me into wrestling besides my sister and my grandmother and my aunt. So wrestling has always been a part of my life, and my dad was just the best person that could literally make you smile when you felt down, and
Oh
even with
yes.
his corny jokes.
Before we actually had our little racist pity pats, he was there.
Yeah,
And I remember when I grew the nuts to propose to you, I actually asked for his blessing, legit,
yeah,
and it made the world to him. I said something along the lines of this: "I've loved your daughter for a long while, and I want to marry her. I want to ask you for her hand in marriage, man to man." And he respected it. And I miss him, even after our troubles.
yeah. But
What?
he didn't mean it in he didn't come from a point of racist. It was the point of he was just protecting his kid. My dad wasn't somebody who was racist. My dad was just somebody who was fiercely protective of his child.
Yeah, that,
And
that's what made me smile when I stopped my shit and actually realized it. Well, that night that we actually did go to Rising Above, I believe I actually didn't buy anything really. I
no, I don't think we really bought anything that night because we were mostly focused on just going to the show and everything because I was like really distraught because my uncle had passed. So I think that was the main goal was just keeping me
same.
like my mind off of what was going on in my life at that point.
Hmm. Oh man. And what a fun night that was. I was thinking that Nigel McGuinness was going to lose that Ring of Honor championship to Austin Aries. I
That's
seriously
what I
thought he
thought.
was, because at that point in time, Nigel was injured. If I remember
Yes.
right, he was
I
injured.
think I think he had a really bad shoulder injury, I believe. Or
Yeah, yeah. He had a bad shoulder. I remember that he was supposed to defend that belt against Aries at what was Masawa's night against Kenta. And I was grateful that I was able to see that.
yeah.
And Nigel retained. I wasn't quite so happy. I was not quite so. I remember that. But Mel Mel got what she wanted, and that's what mattered to me more than anything else. That my
Yeah.
spouse was happy. All right, if my memory serves me
Delirious
right,
fought that night as well.
who?
Delirious.
Yeah. And I know you loved. Oh my God! Now I'm
I got
starting to
to meet
realize.
Delirious that night. I remember that. I got to meet Delirious that night.
Did you get a picture with him at that?
I have a picture, but I don't know where it is. Like it's lost to time, sadly. And it makes me so mad because I had a picture with Delirious and I don't know where it is.
Oh, I knew how much you loved Delirious. Bah, 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 bah.
Bah, bah, bah.
Oh man. Okay. On that show, if my memory serves me, we actually had for the tag team championships the Briscoes defending against Roddy Strong and Rocky Romero of the No Remorse
I
Corps.
think so,
It was two
yeah.
out of three falls. Yes, it was
Yes.
two out of three falls. And the Briscoes retained two straight falls, and that would be like the beginning of this two straight wins for them
Yeah.
at Climate. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Briscoe brothers are basically kind of like what the Dudley Boys are to ECW. What I would say the Hardys were to WWE or F.
Yeah.
The masters of a certain style of match. And two out of three falls was their thing until a certain ladder war arose. And I remember losing my mind when that saga began. Oh boy. Well, let's see, what else? Oh, Marufuji, he was on that show, I remember.
Yeah.
He wrestled twice. We were thinking that Claudio was going to get somebody else, but it wound up being Marufuji. And I don't remember who else Marufuji wrestled on that show, but
No,
I
I
know he.
don't. But I know he did 2 matches that night.
Yeah, and I said, God bless Marufuji. This is correct.
Yeah. Not many wrestlers can do 2 matches in one night. That is a rarity. I'm going to tell you that now.
Especially when it's non-tournament. When it's
Yeah.
non-tournament, oh man! So I had to give Marufuji major, major props that night. All right, and then what other highlights did we actually have? Hmm, I can't remember any beyond that.
I will say
Well,
one thing. I will say one thing. The night that we had went, the funniest thing was is that yes, we weren't like okay, so it was kind of funny in a sense like we weren't there at my uncle's wake, but Magic showed up asking
oh,
my mother where I was, and he goes, my mom goes, "Oh, she's at a wrestling show with her boyfriend. She's at, or I think we were engaged. No, we were engaged at that point. With her
yeah.
fiance, she's at a wrestling show." And he goes to my mom, "Oh man, I think I'm gonna go leave and go to that."
Oh man. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Mel Mel has talked about somebody that's kind of near and dear to each of us, especially on her end because that's a major family friend, and now we can kind of transition over to a different part of wrestling that was near and dear to us. Well, Magic, ladies and gentlemen, he is a Hall of Famer for what we call Jersey All Pro Wrestling, which is
Yes,
also another home promotion that Mel Mel and I tried to go to. We've done
yes,
two of them together. The first show was called Caged Fury. And
yes,
I remember Mel Mel wanting to do that one, especially very much because of the two main event matches. Mel Mel,
yes.
would you like to enlighten the listeners on this? You're, you're glowing right now. Would you like to elaborate on those two matches?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one was definitely a cage match. And I believe one of the other ones was a hardcore false count anywhere match. I
Hmm,
think
let me
I
see.
I know one of them was a cage and one of them was like a very hardcore wrestling match. I don't know if it was Falls Count Anywhere or what it was, but it was definitely hardcore related.
Yeah, if my memory serves me right, I think we had two cages. One of them specifically was what you said, like in the sense of it was more so of a hardcore fight than an actual cage, maybe. So I
Yeah.
believe that was Grim Reaper versus Arcadia for the New
Yes.
Jersey State Championship. And I gotta believe that my memory is kind of fuzzy. And when you actually have fuzzy memory, sometimes Google can help clear the noggin. Okay, so
Let's
let,
Google it.
yeah, let's Google it, kids. Da, 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 da. Because
And
I,
at that show, we actually met my now metal brother Armand.
oh yes, we did. We met, we met him and what you are calling an acquaintance.
Well, yeah, Lone Wolf, Carlos. He's an acquaintance of mine. We don't talk as much as we used to, but he's still an acquaintance and somebody I still talk to once in a blue.
I hear you. Mel Mel, did Carlos say that I was supposed to go with him and Kevin to CZW,
I think so.
but I couldn't afford it at that point. That point in time,
Yeah,
I
that
wanted to
was
go.
you couldn't afford it.
Yeah, we were supposed to go to the anniversary show. Those two went. I couldn't make it at all. All right, so back to Jersey All Pro.
Which was at the ECW arena, which I was pissed off about.
That was their home for many, many years.
I know. Oh, man.
And we wanted to go so bad, especially
I'm trying to go to the House of Hardcore.
whenever they run up again. That would
Yeah, I need to meet
okay.
Tommy Dreamer. That's on my bucket list.
Oh, I remember earlier in the day. Now I'm looking at the results. Okay, before we got into the actual show, I believe you were waiting for me to get back from the bathroom. And
Yes.
when I finally did return, you were geeking out like there was no tomorrow. You geeked out because you actually got to meet Low Key. I
Yes. Yes, I
you
held the door
opened the
for him.
door for him. You opened the door for him. Okay. Now that I'm looking at these results, the memories are flashing back a little bit. Memories are flashing back a bit. All right. So, unbeknownst to pro wrestling fans, Kenny Omega of the Elite. Kenny Omega,
Attention!
yep, unknown to fans of the Elite and maybe the general wrestling world. Kenny Omega, before there was a Bullet Club or an Elite, he was on his own and he
Yes.
was under a Street Fighter gimmick, whereas he would wrestle, but he would do the Hadoken motion from Street Fighter, like he was Ken
Yes.
Master. And now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't like him back then, but I actually thought he was talented. And matter of fact, I think well, was it at that show exactly, or was it the next one? I think it was at the next one that we went to, and we'll touch upon that soon. Uh, I got a picture with him. I remember it was me,
I
Kevin.
loved his entrance. Like his entrance was on fire. It took me years to find his entrance. And it's not exactly the right entrance either. I found the song it comes from, but it's not the actual one he had because I think his was edited how he wanted it, and it's called Firewire.
Oh, wow. All right. So, kids, back to the story in hand. Kenny Omega was actually wrestling for Jersey All Pro Wrestling when he wasn't completely known as he is today. Well, as Mel Mel kind of told, and I re-verified, she opened the door for an injured Low Key. During that show, Low Key came out and he put the Jersey All Pro Championship on the line. And this wasn't supposed to have happened, I gotta believe. I believe that Kenny Omega versus Low Key for the Jersey All Pro Championship was spurned in the moment because Low Key was injured.
Yeah.
So Low Key lost the championship to Kenny Omega.
Yes.
I, at that point in time, I gotta believe was furious because
You
poor,
got up and you were pissed. I remember that. You almost walked out of the show. You were like, this is some bullshit.
yeah, I said that. I said that. Let me take off my glasses right now. Yes, I said that. Yes, I said that. I was not happy. I was not happy at all because Loki was injured. Then all of a sudden, this guy that I probably didn't know of, all of a sudden came and just took the belt away. And I said, what horseshit is this? What horseshit is this? I am
Yeah.
not happy at all. And then you actually had to calm me down a little bit. Matter of fact, I think you gave me a swig of soda or something and said,
Yeah. I was like, here, calm down.
and you gave me a kiss on my cheek and rubbed me on my head. And I said, oh, thank God she's here. Because if I actually was here by myself, I would have probably been uber
He would have
pissed off.
jumped over the guardrail and tried to tackle Kenny over.
Yeah, I probably would have. But then again, I'm not a pro wrestler. I don't want to get my ass sent to jail. So I actually stayed controlled. So we actually did have two cages. The first one was Arcadia beating Grim Reaper to retain that championship that I was talking about.
Okay.
Now, the main event was kind of kind of by way of story. I remember this too well. So Teddy Hart and Samoa Joe were supposed to face the champions LAX for the tag team titles.
Yes. And that night I got to meet Teddy Hart, and I was pissed because by meeting him, I missed Samoa Joe.
Just be like, damn, we were so close. We were so close. But I think I made up for it. And yep, that's short.
I even screamed Joe. I was like, please don't. Just let me
Don't go. Please don't go. Don't go. But back to the actual match. So I think I said this to you as the actual video was playing for the hype. I said, why is Samoa Joe actually in this match? He's more of a singles guy. I should have had him on fighting Low Key for the championship. More so than tag team championships. If anything, I would have thought that we would have had Teddy Hart teaming with his dear old buddy Jack. And, and for those people out there that are questioning who Jack is, that is Jack Evans, formerly of Generation Next, and also currently right now, he's the partner of Analytical from Lucha Underground.
Well, I've watched Lucha Underground, not much, but it is good.
Oh my God, I got season 2 on my freaking Amazon Prime. I got it by seasons 1 and 3. That was great. Please, ladies and gentlemen, recommendations from this former couple here. Please go watch Boots on the Ground. It is cinematic greatness.
It's also very drama filled, which I like. It is like you are technically watching a Telemundo show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, and we'll wrap up the Cage Fury slight review. Samoa Joe did not show up for the match until Teddy Hart was getting his ass kicked for a good portion
I remember that he's getting his ass whooped.
by himself. And I think it was Homicide and him for the most part. And then when Samoa Joe beat the living hell out of Teddy, I think you can testify this. I lost my junk. I was dying laughing. I said,
I think you almost fell out of your seat laughing so hard.
yes, yes, that was me. I was laughing so hard I almost fell out of my seat to the point I almost pissed my pants too. That was just the most hilarious thing I've seen all night long. Oh man, that was not Delirious trying to get under Frankie Kazarian's skin earlier on the show, but that was truly funny. Samoa Joe just out of nowhere blasts Teddy, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, you made up for the low key versus Kenny Omega.
Wait a minute. That was the show I met Delirious, not Ring of Honor. It was that show because that's where I got the picture. Now
Yeah,
that I'm remembering.
and didn't you also get a picture with Daisy Hayes that night?
Yes, I did. And I believe I got a picture of Magic that night too, because I think he was there.
Yes, he was. And let's actually circle around for that. All right. Now, under the dear world that we're living in, we actually met an upstart who is very big in independent wrestling now. Unbeknownst to us, we didn't know how far this guy was going to go. After the show, we got in the car with our dear friend Magic, now Jersey All Pro Hall of Famer Magic. And right in front with us, or sitting next to Magic on the ride home, was the leader of what many have called for a few years now, Team Pazuzu. Their leader, Chris Dickinson, I gotta believe, made his General Pro Wrestling debut that night in a tag team match with Earl Cooter.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember that all too well. Oh man. I think I was saying to you at that point when it actually happened, oh my God. What is this?
I
We
think
gotta,
people were yelling at him to show his cooter.
yeah, yeah. But me, I was like, who is this wannabe Briscoe? Who's this wannabe Cajun? But his partner, Chris Dickinson, was not quite so thrilled with what was happening. And I think he actually beat the shit out of him and went heel that night because
Yeah.
they lost to a dear friend, a mutual friend of ours, Steve Mack, who was a part of the Heavy Hitters tag team at
Yes.
that time. Or what many people were in dark called the Heavy Shitters. That was,
Yeah.
oh, that was so wrong. I remember that. I was a part of the forums at that point in time. I said, that is wrong. That is wrong.
Yeah, we were on Jersey Oprah forum and people called them that. I was like, that's fucked up, man. Come on.
Come on. Come on. That was wrong. And they were actually chanting that at the show. And I'm looking at you like this. Yeah, we're looking at each other like, no, 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 no. This is not happening. This is not happening. But the heavy head is one. We got to talk to Chris Dickinson, and he is such a humble guy. He was asking us, who were just in the crowd, for our opinion, and we were
Yeah.
honest. And we thought he was pretty good. He was
And Magic told him that night, do not piss her off because she knows how to wrestle.
Yeah, I was dying laughing at that point. All right.
Yes, I have a background in backyard wrestling.
Yes, she does, ladies and gentlemen.
I would have went into wrestling if I didn't get sick because Magic wanted to recruit me.
Yeah, I remember. I was there. And I said, oh, Jesus Christ. Have mercy on us all. Oh! Before we get into Overload, which was our last show together, I remember somebody was saying to you that you look like Mickey Knuckles or
Yes.
Moose from TNA at that point in time. I looked at the picture and I said, it's true. She looks like Moose. I have a woman that looks like a pro wrestler. Yeah, that's exactly what you did to me. That's what you did to me, more ways than one. But anyways, moving right along. Yeah, I had said, yeah, she looks like Moose, but I think Mel Mel could hold her own if she became a wrestler. So
I would like to think I'd more be a Lufisto.
yeah, that's what you were saying. You were more little Fest though than Mickey Knuckles, and I could kind of agree with that because you were kind of into that gimmick that Lufisto was in at that time.
Which
Because,
I actually met Lufisto about 2-3 years back. I finally got to meet her.
yeah. Okay, so our last go as a couple. I believe we just celebrated our engagement and we had the guy that sadly I pushed you into along. Also, and our friend Armand.
Yeah.
And before we continue, Mel Mel, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I pushed you into it.
It's okay, things happen. In a sense, if you didn't push me into him, I don't know where I'd be. I might not have been with Eddie, gotten back with Eddie and have the life I have now. So I see it as things happen for a reason.
All right, kids, back to action. Overload was, I believe, June 2008. That night was very awesome in its own right. I believe that I got pictures with Jay Lethal's two sisters, man. I was losing my mind. I said, yes! Because I could not get Jay Lethal, but I got something even better than that.
I got to meet Jay Lethal at another show, and I got to look at his butt. So I was happy about that.
I know you were. I was pimping all over the world with his sisters right there. Because they were beautiful. But anyways, yeah, that's your reaction. That's your reaction exactly. I remember. You were laughing your ass off at me, but I actually had a good time. Uh, I believe that waiting for that show, you and I, we were supposed to sit second row that night, but somehow, some way, our dear acquaintance was able to upgrade it for us,
Yeah.
and we sat front row. I,
Yes, we sat in front row, which was crazy.
I remember after the pre-show was all done, you got hit on by Javier or whatever
Oh
this
God,
Tom.
I was just gonna bring that up. That damn guy was like grinding in my face, and I wanted to puke.
Yeah, I remember that. I said, "You gotta be shitting me. Who's this? Excuse you." And I think
I
this
even
is,
looked at him like, don't come over, look it over here.
yeah, that's my sugar. Go somewhere else. That's what I would say. That's my sugar. Go somewhere else. So I think he lost. That made us happy.
Yeah,
Thank you,
I think
Pat Frank.
it looks.
Thank you, Pat Frank. But anyways, okay. Highlights of that show. My memories. Uh, we had Grim Reaper, who was the New Jersey State Champion, getting a shot at the actual heavyweight championship against
Yes.
Kenny Omega. I think you used the bathroom for a brief pinch during that match.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
yeah, you did. You did. Because I remember they were fighting near me for a while in the crowd. They were fighting near me. I said, "Oh shit, this is awesome." I
And you were
was
also,
so.
she's not here because she'd be trying to jump in the damn thing.
I was thinking that at the time. Let me see. You were in the bathroom. I said, "Yeah, thank God she's not here because she probably would actually try to be killing these dudes right now, especially Kenny, especially Kenny. Thank God she's using the bathroom." But you came back just as the match was starting to end,
Yeah.
and Kenny Omega retained the belt. I was rooting for Grim Reaper like there was no tomorrow, but I didn't get what I want. But I got what I wanted months later. But sad to say, you and I at that point in time, we were broke up for good. Oh man!
Yeah.
But that night, we had LAX fight uh, the SATs or the Maximo brothers,
Yes.
and the Maximos lost. I was rooting for both teams. I didn't know who to root for. I would not have complained if the Maximals won. I would have not complained if LAX won because they were two of my favorite teams of all time. So
I was
I was.
rooting for LAX that night.
Oh yes, you were. Yes, you were. And you told me that if the Maximals won, you weren't going to be completely happy. I remember. I remember that too well. You were like, no, 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 no. That's
I
not
told
happening.
you. I told you if they won, there was gonna be a 187 when I go over the damn guardrail.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, I remember that all too well. That was almost Ring of Honor's first show that we went to all over again. I said, oh, no. Oh Jesus, how they trying to keep this woman under control. But I had to pull a you from Cage Fury, give you some sugar to calm you down more ways than one, and pat you on the head and say, "Oh, it's okay, it's okay, calm down, hon. We are just oh man. All right. So that night also happened to be the same night that Dan Moff returned to pro wrestling.
Yes.
I remember our acquaintance saying that there was a surprise. We didn't know what was going to happen. Mel Mel, I think you can testify to this, what my reaction was when I heard what happened or saw what happened.
Your jaw dropped to the floor and you were like, Dan fucking Moff is here.
Yeah, Dan fucking Moff is here. Dan Moff is here. What the fuck? I'm losing my
And
mind.
wait a minute. Didn't Kenny Omega come out and interrupt that and call him Moffy? Or was that later on down in the business?
That was later on, but they were aligned. They did align because I
Yeah.
believe that Moff. Wait a minute. I'm trying to remember the order. The tag team titles was not the main event. I believe that Danny DeMonto was facing somebody in the main event, and all of a sudden you hear this music that starts off pump 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 pump, almost kind of like Snoop Dogg's pump pump, and then it bled into "What You Gonna Do" by Shine from Bad Boy Records, and the place is losing its junk,
Oh
literally.
yeah.
But me, as she testified, I this is my reaction. Damn fucking Moff is here. He's back. I thought that him and Homicide had troubles in personal life, but he's here. And then he beats the living hell out of Danny DeMonto and gives him the burning hammer. And
Yeah.
I was hoping to God that we would have gone to that show, but the rest was history. And here we are 12 years later, almost. And that was our last go around as a couple. But this is a prelude to something that we'll be touching on in a few moments. I gotta believe. I went to Ring of Honor's final battle in 2009. And
I believe I was there too, but I was with my current boyfriend at the time.
yep, you were there. You were there. I felt something in the air. And I went, what's this? What's this? And then the acquaintance got a hold of me literally later that night or a few days later.
Yeah.
I heard from him and I said, "Oh, really? Interesting." Well, I went to that show because a friend of mine actually went and invited me. I did not have any clue you were there. Supposedly, you saw me.
Yeah, I saw you. Cause I was up on the stage area. Cause it was GA was up on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw you. You were in like the third or fourth row.
Yeah, I was hanging out with my boy Rez or Rezo as I call him, and another friend of his. He invited me. I said, "Okay, I'll go. I'll go. Let's see what this is all about." Before we move out of the wrestling bit, we actually had another common love in the wrestling industry, and that was for a company called CZW, which we briefly touched on. I
Yeah.
believe that this is maybe a pinch after we broke up for the first time. No, we didn't really break up. We just took a brief break. Now that I'm thinking.
Yeah. We
Okay,
took like
so
a brief break. I think it was like a month or something like that. Like it
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
even that long.
it wasn't that long. So after we reunited, and that was a great reunion, by the way. Moving right along. Uh, I believe that I got you into CZW like roughly September that year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
believe
yeah, yeah.
so.
Yeah, I remember. I just became a CZW fan after watching Ruckus fight Homicide for the world title. I
Yes.
remember I remember that match all too well. Okay, so Ruckus,
Shit went crazy.
yes it was, yes it was. So Ruckus of the Blackout comes out with 4 belts. This is my watch before I got her into it, ladies and gentlemen. So he comes out with 4 belts. He's got the CZW World's Championship around his waist. On one side, the Maryland Championship Wrestling Tag Team title on
Yep.
another. On his arm, he's got the German Wrestling Promotion World's title. And
Yes.
in his hand, he's got the CZW World Tag Team Championship. I said, this man is awesome. He's coming out with 4 belts. What is this? I don't see this on WWE. I don't see this on TNA. I don't see this anywhere else. Oh, man. And then he gets into it with Homicide, and I thought, this was a pretty good match. And then bleeds into a world title match, now a tag team match. And I'm saying, oh my God, what is this? What is this? So we got Blackout of the Joker and Ruckus fighting Homicide and Ricky Reyes. Ricky Reyes, who was part of the Blackout, now is going back home to the Rottweilers with Homicide, and it goes to a no contest because it went all over the place.
Yep.
All over.
The only member of Blackout I have not met is Joker, I think, or Jigsaw. It's
Joker. The Joker.
Joker.
Was he
Joker. Okay.
was he big, muscly? The Joker.
No, he wore a mask.
Jigsaw man.
That Jigsaw I haven't met.
Oh,
So I've met almost everybody but Jigsaw.
wait a minute, Jigsaw. Where did you meet? You said that you tried to meet Jigsaw, right?
I've tried to, but I have not successfully met him yet.
I'm trying to remember. Was Jigsaw?
Because he left for the army.
Joker. That was the Joker, Mel Mel. Did he have face paint, not a mask, like actual face paint?
Maybe.
Face paint. Then that's the Joker. The Joker.
Okay, so I met Joker. I've met Joker. I have not met
except for the Joker.
No, I've met everybody but Jigsaw. I know I have not met Jigsaw.
No, Mel Mel. You're saying that there was a member of the Blackout who went to Iraq. That was the Joker. The Joker.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm getting him and Jigsaw mixed up, but
Yeah,
I have not met Jigsaw.
Okay, I can explain this, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your eyes on me. All right. For Mel Mel's confusion, the Ruckus of the Blackout had another group called the Vulture Squad. In that group, it was led by Homicide's former manager, Julius Smokes.
Yes.
And he was surrounded by non-black members, Jack Evans and Jigsaw, who wore a mask, but then got criticized for it and had to wrestle without it. That's where Mel Mel got confused. And yes, this group was in Ring of Honor, not CZW. CZW.
Oh.
That's okay. It got me confused too. But there was a moment. Okay. Let's go back to Ring of Honor for a brief smidge. All right. There was a story there for Ruckus where the Blackout of Eddie Kingston, what is now referred to as Black G's, and Robbie Marino showed up.
Yes.
And got to it with the Vulture Squad.
Yes, that's exactly it. Okay.
And
that's where I'm getting him.
And that's what led to the breakup of the Vulture Squad in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I was
I've met Black G's already. I've met I think
Ruckus.
I met Ruckus, and I think I met Joker as well.
I remember we weren't talking at that point, but I did see your pictures. I did see your pictures
Yeah.
available to public. I know you met Ruckus and Black G's for sure. I don't know if you met the Joker. I don't know.
He was the only white guy in the group besides Jack Evans, wasn't he?
Wait a minute. Jigsaw was the only white guy in the group of the Vulture Squad that wasn't Jack Evans.
No, I'm talking
Blackout,
Blackout. Blackout.
Blackout's crew was this: Ruckus, Black G's, Eddie Kingston, okay, the Joker, and their managers Robbie and Chrissy. So there was 6 members of the
I
Blackout.
haven't met Robbie. I've met Chrissy. I've actually had dinner with Julia Smokes and like a whole group of people
You're fortunate.
at the TikTok diner after a ROH show.
Oh, God bless you. God bless you.
So yeah, I've done some stuff.
All right. So back to 2007. Okay, I finished watching that tag match. I downloaded it, and I downloaded some other matches that Blackout were involved in. And I remember showing Mel Mel. I said, "You gotta see this. It is great." And she watched it, and you can hear her way from the hallway lose her mind when she saw Ruckus versus Homicide. She was losing her mind more than any other match I've shown her in our entire relationship.
Yeah.
She even lost it more than she was watching Ultimate X from Impact.
Yeah.
It was LAX versus AJ Styles and Chris Daniels.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, she definitely is gonna
Yeah,
let
because
this.
you were in the kitchen, you were getting tea, and you hear me screaming, going nuts, like, what in the hell?
Yeah, I literally had to run back in. I said, Mel Mel, what happened? And you're like, oh, we gotta go. We gotta go. I said, that's fine, we gotta go. But sad to say, we live in New York and we don't know how to get out.
To Philly, yeah, we didn't know how to get out there at that point.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking you in the camera right now. This is legit. We really wanted to go. We legit wanted to go, especially her, because the place that CGW ran in was considered wrestling heaven for many people. It is the infamous ECW arena. Many feuds, such as Taz versus Shane Douglas, uh, the Dudleys versus Spike and Balls Mahoney,
Yep.
made that arena. Matter of fact, ECW itself, as Extreme Championship Wrestling, I believe, was born in that arena.
Yes.
Shane Douglas
Yes.
threw down what was the National Wrestling Alliance World's title and
And he
declared,
said, fuck it.
yep, I am the ECW World Champion. And that was
Mick
Josh Services.
Foley fucking wrestled there, and so did Terry Funk.
Steve Austin, too. Stone Cold
Yes.
Steve Austin,
Raven.
after the Evil Empire, he was there. Chris Jericho was there. Dean Malenko was there. Eddie Guerrero, excuse me, let's try that again. Eddie Guerrero was there.
Sandman.
Oh, Sam, man, that dude. That was Steve Austin before Steve Austin was cool, ladies and gentlemen.
Who else was there? Blue Meanie.
Oh, Blue Meanie, yes, yes. He was there. Okay, back to CZW. So we wanted to go, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
our time came and went. We broke up permanently in 2008. We never got back together. But my dear companion over here, she was fortunate enough to make it there.
Years later, might I add.
Yep. And I would find out and I would lose my junk and I congratulated her. And I'm still kind of like, and that you got to watch the Hit Squad reunite and win the tag team championships, damn it.
Hey, listen. Hey, you got to go to Game Changer before I did, so I don't want to hear none of your crap.
Oh,
I haven't gone to
yeah.
Game Changer yet. That's on my list.
Yeah.
I guess I owe you a show and you owe me a show then.
I owe you a show.
You owe me a Game Changer and I owe you a CCW show.
We shall see how that goes. We shall see how that goes. But anyways, yeah, she was able to go to CZW many years later. And one of my favorite tag teams of all time was the Hit Squad of Monster Mac and Dan Moff. She was able to witness their tag team title win, I gotta believe. And not only that, but them retaining the belts for a smidge.
Which was a really great match, even though not Moff, Steve was injured with his knee.
Yep. Yeah.
He had a really bad knee issue, but he still pulled his shit out.
God bless him. And I'm still working on getting him on this show, damn it. I keep on saying it, and I'm gonna make it happen. As a matter of fact, I did send him a message.
Good.
Now it's about him getting back to me. Hello, Mac Attack, if you're ever watching this or listening. Yeah, and he's been a friend of mine since 2009, and we always talk pro wrestling. We even got into this thing with Black G's about porn. Him, him.
How did that happen? I wasn't around for that.
No, you weren't. No, you weren't. I was still single at that point in time. I remember just talking to Steve Mack about something, and then all of a sudden comes Black G's with porno bitches shit, and I said, "Oh no, oh no," and then our conversation became Pornhub links and just talking about it, not actual showing of dicks and everything else. It was just talk. Just,
Go figure. Black G's would bring up porn.
yeah, ladies and gentlemen, what you see with Black G's is practically what you get in real life. Seriously, seriously. But I love him to death because he's actually funny. Oh yeah, Mel Mel. I think he listened to me. Black G's meaning. Okay, this is after you and I broke up. So this is circa 2010ish. Yeah. All right, because John Moxley was the world's champion at that point in time.
Okay.
All right, so going into Cage of Death that year, Black G's was reunited with the Joker for what they called Philly's Most Wanted. Yeah, Philly's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Going out of the shadow of Blackout. So it was those two doing their own thing. And I remember Black G's playing for me or somebody else this song by Meek Mill called Gasoline. And I'm hearing this and I'm saying to myself, oh, this kind of sounds like something that Philly's Most Wanted probably would come out to. And then lo and behold, Cage of Death Forward, that was their theme song. I said, no way. I lost my shit. And I heard about it from a friend of mine. And I said, wow, a pro wrestler listened to me. Listened to me. My opinion. Gave a shit about my opinion. And then it stuck with them and it fit perfectly. So if Black Jesus ever listens to this or is watching, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. All right. So let's see. Outside of pro wrestling, you and I, as we hinted at, we were a couple. But our connection goes a little bit. I don't talk about quite so many things. As I mentioned, Mel Mel's father passed away. Our family, they got along to some degrees. Your family, they almost treated me with the utmost respect since day one, especially your
Yeah.
mother. Your mother
Yeah.
made me laugh the most out of everybody else. She would call me by my full name completely, and no,
Yeah.
not using my last name, my true given last name. If anybody who followed me for years before there was a Black Lions Aerospace, they may know what my last name is, but
Oh, I know what it
you know
is.
what it is. You know what it is because that would have been your maiden. That would have been your name if you actually got married to me. Damn it!
Yeah.
But for privacy reasons, I stopped using my last name, and I preferred
And
my. Hmm?
and that's fine.
I preferred my middle name. I thought, wow, okay. There's no other Zachary Shilohs. There's other Zachary.
Yeah.
There's other
I
ones,
know
but
Zachary Shiloh's.
there's only one Zachary Shiloh, and that's me. And I took that.
I told you I always loved your middle name. I always told you that.
Yeah, I know, and that made me happy, and that's why I was proud to have you, because you accepted me for who and what I was, and I can share some of that now, especially given the circumstances of the world we're living in, how people are coming out with different aspects of it.
Yeah. I can't hear you all of a sudden. I think your mic went bye-bye. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Your mic is messed up. I don't know why I can't hear you, period.